Hello guys, welcome back to another Nicheball video. Today we are going to give you our perfect Premier League. So we've done a little rule here. We're going to do it in order of where we think the teams are going to finish, and they had to play in the Premier League. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into it. And at 20th, I've got Birmingham. Joe, who do you have?
For me, I've got Bolton at 20th. What about you, Des?
Oh, that's a really good one.
Who you got at 20th?
I've gone with Sunderland. You know, how many Newcastle fans.
Oh, the disrespect!
Yeah, I can't. How many Newcastle fans? I feel like they've got to be there, but they can't be any higher for me for obvious reasons. So yeah, Casey, 19th.
Oh, I've got West Brom.
Yeah, I've got them a bit higher up. In 19th, I've got Birmingham. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I've not got.
I don't know. Birmingham definitely worse than Bolton. Bolton got Europe, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no,
your memory's too fond, but
I've got neither of those teams in my West Brom and Birmingham aren't in my 20 whatsoever. 19th, I've gone with QPR, not because they've been in the Premier League for long, purely because of the stadium is a pro club's, like, you know, it's your pro club starter stadium. So they've got to be
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Moving on, 18th, Casey.
I got Nottingham Forest. I had to put them in, like, one of the most historic clubs in the whole country. But the reason I put them at 18th is because they haven't been here for very long. And yeah, so I just think that's fair. I just think they would do better than both of these teams because West Brom go down too much, and Forest haven't really been in the Premier League long enough. And I think Birmingham would just get smoked compared to the rest of these teams. Oh, Joe, what about you? Sorry.
I may have forgotten about a team, but 18th, I've got Wolves. So, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory because above.
So you almost had a Birmingham 3 going down. Same with me.
Oh, I've got more from Birmingham as well. Don't you worry for the derbies. But who you got 18th, Lewis?
Oh, sorry, Porto have just scored against Arsenal. Sorry, we're not even going to cut that out. That is an honest reaction to Porto beating Arsenal. Yeah, they've just scored.
Arsenal will never get to the quarters. But anyway, that's not the video. Lewis, who have you got at 18th?
Sorry, 18th. I've got Bolton Wanderers. Yeah.
Again, they got Europe. I think you guys are really underestimating. They were in the Premier League for a very long time.
Yeah, but they spent out of the 32 Premier League seasons, they've spent 13 of them in there, so not too long. So yeah, go on, Casey, give us 17th.
Look, I know I said you have to have a Premier League team, but I just couldn't. Like, I couldn't resist. I had to get Millwall on here. So imagine the Millwall away days for all the London clubs, the absolute chaos it would cause. Obviously, you know, there is a specific other team that's in here, but, you know, I'm not going to spoil it just yet. But yeah, I had to put Millwall on. I know I broke the rules a bit, but, you know, you got to put Millwall in. So who have you got?
Me in 17th. I've got West Brom.
Yeah.
You know. Because I got Wolves at 18th, West Brom 17th. I'm telling you, you saw what that derby's like this season.
Yeah, that would be intense.
You know, because for me in this, you'll notice if you go further up my table, I've tried to get the big derbies in here because that's what I did.
That's what I did. Yeah.
So, what about you, Lewis? What you got? 17th.
17th, I've gone with Crystal Palace. Just purely because of Jason Punchin and Dwight Gale. They've got them on
Fairs.
That's about it. Mate. I had nothing more to say. Casey, 16th.
I've got Portsmouth, just a bit before my time, but all of the Premier League, like a bit old people, just a bit older than me, they always go on about Portsmouth, and I just think, well, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but basically the South Coast doesn't have any representation, and I think out of all the rest, like the South Coast teams, I think they're like the best football club. They're like very proper, won a trophy, you know, their fans are a bit depressed now, but fair enough. But yeah, I had to get Portsmouth in here. Joe, who have you got?
At 16th, I've got Stoke, because I don't know about you guys, but like, obviously I'm not that old, so when I was a bit younger, I don't know why, I just always remember Stoke in the Prem. I remember
shithouse team, beautiful team.
First match text card I got was a Stoke player, and yeah, for me, they've always sort of been a staple Premier League team in my mind since being young. So yeah, that's why they're there for me. What about you, Lewis?
16th, I've gone with Fulham. You know, made famous from the movie Goal. They've also got one of the oldest and, you know, well, in my opinion, one of the best Premier League stadiums. Craven Cottage, I believe, is the name. So yeah, Casey, 15th.
I've got Sunderland. I got your team. No, your team, your rival team. Fucking hell, sorry. obviously, I had to get them in here because of a specific other team, but I'm not going to spoil it too much yet. I think those did them a bit dirty. They were in the Premier League for ages. They had pretty decent teams here and then. Yeah, but I just had to get them in. Long story short, Joe, who have you got?
Okay, Casey, you must be on the same wavelength because of 15th. I've got Sunderland as well.
Yeah,
I think
massive
it's
brains.
pretty self-explanatory. After I talked about Derby, so I've got a bit above them in the table. But hey, man, Sunderland, may have got double relegated, but once again, it's a bit like Stoke. I always remember them being there when I was young.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they had a good derby against Newcastle in it. So, what about you, Lewis?
I've gone with Leeds.
Yeah.
I don't really have a reason, and just Leeds.
Fair.
14th kid.
I've got Newcastle. If you be real,
that's outrageous putting that low.
Yeah, but if you think about it, for literally my whole childhood, they were either in a championship or relegation battles, and it wasn't until literally last season you got into Europe. They should just deep that. So
from
my whole life,
2012 to 13. I'm sorry.
I just came up the fucking womb, mate. At that point, so I barely even remember. I wouldn't remember Newcastle and doing that. Yeah, so Newcastle throughout my whole childhood were just bad. So I think I've niced you, if anything. Joe, who have you got?
In 14th, I've got Southampton. Yeah, maybe I don't know about you lot if you don't have them, but I'm always going to talk about it. Derbies. I've got another team a bit higher up the table, which always from what my dad told me was always a decent derby. So. That's why I've put them in there. And anyway, Lewis, who have you got on 14th?
14th, I've gone with Leicester. Premier League champions. When you think of proper Premier League heritage, I can't lie, I don't really think of them, but because they have won a Premier League, they've gotten into this list. So yeah, 13th, Casey.
I've got Wimbledon. I know. You guys are like, what? Whoa. Wimbledon? In the 90s, they're one of the founding fathers of the Premier League. They were they were the Burnley way before, but this dirty, disgusting team that will batter and bruise their way through teams. Won an FA Cup against Liverpool. I played like Vinnie Jones, the hardest geezer about. There's even a whole documentary about them. And plus, just they're a sick club. They got fucked over by some shitty owner. Had to move to to Milton Keynes, out of all places in the country, and then built their club up from the ground. Now they're in League 2. They've been in League 1 a little bit. Yeah, they're just a proper club, and I just had to get them in there. And I think, yes, teams below have had a better time in the Premier League, but come on, they would be a pain in the arse to play against, home and away. They'd bring their home status to your ground. Anyway, Joe, who have you got?
13th, I've got West Ham, the Irons.
Which team?
For me, you can't really have a Premier League without West Ham. Tiny club, but nonetheless, they always they always seem to provide a bit of entertainment whenever I watch. I'm always looking up for a scrap. They got decent fans, maybe not the new ground, but back in the day, from what I've heard, they were pretty darn good. So
we've got 2 movies about them. No, yeah, they got a movie about them. They're that crazy.
Yeah. So Lewis, who have you got 13th?
13th, I've gone with Stoke, and the only reason being is a cold, wet, rainy night in Stoke. So yeah.
Fairs.
12.
Oh, I have got Everton, because obviously you got to have Everton again. One of the founding fathers of the Premier League, a very historic club. I'm not even going to. It's not a spoil, but Liverpool obviously in this list. They have to have that rivalry is good on its day. Very iconic teams, iconic players, iconic stadium. I mean, sadly they're getting rid of it, but yeah, I feel like you have to have Everton in this list. Joe, who have you got?
I've got Leeds. Made Europe a couple times, I'm pretty sure, and. Once again, another sort of vintage Premier League team for me. I think I put them in the Stoke Sunderland bracket. Just always sort of in my memory of being there, in and around it. I know they spent a couple of years in the Championship, give or take, but hey man, I like them as well. I've got a tiny bit of a soft spot for Leeds, but that's why. And who have you got, Lewis?
12th, I've gone with West Ham. I don't know, Upton Park was, before they got rid of it, what a stadium that was. The atmosphere. The last game against Man United, yeah, that's pretty much it, really. They've also spent 28 out of the 32 seasons in the Premier League, so they were given in this list. So yeah, Casey, 11th.
I have got Stoke. Again, you might be thinking, well, a bit high up. Again, They're just a bitch. They're a pain in the ass to play against. A bit like Wimbledon. Home and away, they'd bring it to you, especially home. And they have like iconic players like Peter Crouch, Shaqiri. I think in this Premier League, if they had the same team, I think they would probably finish around there. So that's personally why I put them there. And I really like Stoke. They're probably my favourite, one of my favourite Premier League clubs. Not like obviously as a fan, but I just like them. It's a pretty cool club. So who have you got?
11th, I've got Newcastle, for that little Sunderland against them as well, that derby. I mean, as we saw, West Brom Wolves was pretty decent this year. And, Newcastle, recently they've been starting to do better. Maybe before they were, I don't know what Lewis would say, maybe they weren't as good. But I quite liked Newcastle before the takeover, and then their fans got a bit annoying on Twitter, and they became a bit entitled. But for me, I think they are a vintage.
After what we've gone through under Mike Ashley, I think we should have a bit of it in, considering we used to be a top 6 club in the early 2000s.
Hey man, they've had Alan Shearer. That's Premier League heritage right there. So
Exactly.
yeah, maybe not enough trophies, but here's what it is, And Lewis, who you got?
In 11th, I've gone with Southampton. I've always just had a bit of a soft spot for Southampton. I can't lie.
Pooey club.
Just a
chance.
Shit
stadium.
The best fan base ever, but they've got a good rivalry with Portsmouth, and sorry for Casey's sake, Portsmouth. So I don't know. I just 11th place at Southampton. So moving on to 10th, Casey.
Got Villa. You have to have Villa in here, obviously. Obviously, I know, recently they've done better, but that's not why I put them this high up. They got Champions Leagues. They're very historic. Probably have top 3 grounds in the whole country. Very good fans. Yeah, there's nothing else to say really. Joe, who have you got?
In 10th, I've got Portsmouth, maybe a bit high up, but I always sort of remember having a couple of iconic players, maybe towards the end of their careers, but I've always remembered them having some pretty cool players. They got a good set of fans. I remember when they came to Tottenham for the FA Cup, maybe it was 2 years ago. My friend got stuck in a police escort. It was last year. Last year, yeah. My friend got stuck in a police escort with them. So yeah, that's the main memory of Portsmouth I have of recent times. But yeah, they've always. I'm not that old, so I can't really tell you about old Premier League. But my dad always said to me that Portsmouth were quite a fun club to go to, and yeah, that's what I've got on there. That's who you got, Lewis?
In 10th, I've got Blackburn. Premier League founder.
That is crazy.
That is not crazy in the slightest. One of the biggest Premier League founders, one of the biggest in the 90s, won a Premier League consistently. Yes, they might not have many seasons in the Premier League, only 18 out of 32. But one of the biggest teams in the 90s won a Premier League, had players like Alan Shearer play for them. I don't think that can be disputed whatsoever. They've been successful. Like, for example, having Nottingham Forest in your team, they've only been in the Premier League 7 seasons. Yes, they're founders, but you've said they've got success. Yes, in Europe, not the Premier League. If this is Premier League alone, Blackburn are 10th, undoubtedly. So, yeah, moving on to 9th. Go on, Casey.
I have got West Ham. Like Joe said, just a proper club. Maybe not their stadium. I think their stadium's ruined their vibe a little bit. But yeah, they cause shit. They have to have fun. Not to win things necessarily, even though they have won a trophy more recently than us. Yes, I know. But yeah, they just came here to have fun. And that's why I got to put them in. I think it'll be a disgrace. And obviously I put Millwall in. That would be the best game of the weekend. Every single time. Without a doubt. And that's about it really. Joe, who have you got?
For me, 9th, I've got Villa. Because hey man, that Birmingham Villa derby, you got to have it in there. As I said, I'm always looking for the derbies because I want a Premier League that's entertaining. And Villa are just they got good fans, and well, they got quite annoying fans. I'll be honest. They got a nice ground as well, and another sort of old vintage Premier League team for me. I think there's not really much I have to say about them. I just really had to get them in there for the derbies. I'm telling you, that's all my ideal Premier League is about. And what about you, Lewis?
9th, I've also gone with Villa. Spent 29 out of 2 seasons in the Premier League. Their fans are arseholes. They think they're something that they're not. But we're not rating it off fans alone. There's many other factors. Like I said, they've been in the Premier League for a long time, and for many of those seasons, they have been a mid-table or top 10 club. And they're only on the way up with Unai Emery at the minute. So yeah, 8th, Casey.
I've got Leeds. Pretty crazy take. By the way, I missed a team, so I've just got 19 teams. That's just how it's going to be. I miscounted it, but yeah, I got Leeds. I know it's just might say quite high up, but they literally won I know it wasn't the Premier League, but they won like the Division 1 right before the Premier League. They were like I think like top 3 best teams for like 15 years. Obviously, like Joe said, like they were relegated for a while, but they're just incredible ground, very historic, great players. Like, yeah, that's just like compared to. I know, like you can say what you want, but yeah, I just think that's why I think like in their prime, they would probably finish around 7th. Oh, Joe, who have you got?
Me, I've got Everton in 7th. You know, never been relegated from the Premier League, or is it top? Is it top of it? I can't even remember what it is, but definitely not from the Premier League. And yeah, just proper club. You know, they've point deductions right now. Maybe not looking too good for them in the league, but they provide a good derby against Liverpool, and they've always been. Obviously they've always been in and around it, never relegated, and you know, you gotta love the Scousers. You gotta love the Scousers. So who have you got, Lewis?
So in my 8th place, I've got Newcastle. Undoubtedly bigger in the Premier League than West Ham and Leeds. That can't be disputed whatsoever. I spent more seasons in there. Yes, fair enough, the trophies aren't there, but I've got better fans. Well, Leeds, they're probably equal to Leeds. Leeds and Newcastle and Villa are probably the 3 best teams with the best fans in the country. But, Newcastle, one of the biggest and best teams in the 90s and early 2000s, had some Premier League greats like Alan Shearer, Les Ferdinand, players like that. Had some unbelievable players. We've even had Blooming Clivert. We had Ian Rush, Sol Campbell. They were towards the end of their career, but the fact is, Mike Owen as well, we've pulled those players because we're a big and successful team. Yes, don't get us wrong, under Mike Ashley, it's been awful because Mike Ashley is a money-stealing arsehole. But, we've got Europa League as well. Yes, like through from 2014 onwards, we went down to the Championship 16 to 17th, like the 16 to 17 season. But, we made the Europa League 12 to 13. We're a big club. I don't care. So we're undoubtedly 8th. Casey 7th, Orling is 6th because you've only 19 because you're an idiot.
Look, I'm doing this simply because I'm biased, but also it has, it's ranging from. I know my list makes no sense. All right, I know I just put Leeds, who basically been shit for the whole time, and they were good at the start of the Premier League, but I've got Arsenal. I know that's pretty crazy.
Whoa.
But in my lifetime, like I said, my list makes no sense. I don't care what people say in the comments, right? In my lifetime, they've never gotten past the quarters in the Champions League. They weren't in Champions League for 7 years, I believe. They never won the title. They finished above us once, I think, in like 6 years or 7 years. Finished 8th back to back. Won FA Cups here and there. Yeah, they've won trophies. I'll give them that. Had some pretty decent players. And that's just like I said, my list makes no sense, but I don't really care. Joe, who have you got?
For me, in 6th, after what you just said, this might be a bit weird, but I've got Tottenham. As we've been up there recently, if we're talking, maybe not really recently, but in terms of Premier League, like title races, like as of recent for Tottenham have been close to now. But if you're talking about going back to the start of when the Premier League started, maybe we weren't really the best, but
we were pretty massive.
Yeah,
we were we were literally one of the teams that started the Premier League. Like us and Everton really pushed it forward.
We came a bit mid-table for a bit, Obviously, Redknapp sort of brought it back, but for me, I think 6th. Maybe not for you, Casey, but for me, 6th as a Tottenham fan, I think you gotta take it. I think that's where we are. Out of the other 5 I have above us, I don't think I can put us in a sort of all-time Premier League table. Obviously not all-time, but ideal, if you're being realistic, Tottenham would be 6th, I'll be honest. That's just my opinion. What about you, Lewis? Who you got 6th?
Right. I don't know about you, but because I've got 20 teams, I'm still in 7th. So for my 7th place team, I've gone with, unless I've got 21, but I've counted 1 through till 20 on my list, and there's no teams there twice.
Hey,
because
Joe,
you've gone wrong somewhere. Casey's only got 19, but if you've gone 20, you've skipped a team somewhere. But for my 7th place, I've gone with Everton. As I think it was Casey said, they haven't been relegated like once. one of the founding teams of the Premier League. They've not had, don't get us wrong, they are the second biggest team in Merseyside, and they've not had like the greatest of success, but for a team that's never been relegated, they've got to be up there. So yeah, Casey, your 5th place team, our 6th place team is...
I've got my club, Tottenham Hotspur, and like I said, it's basically because I am biased, but at the same time, like, my list doesn't make sense, and I did try to like do it from the perspective of like what I remember then. That's why obviously I've got like Newcastle a lot lower, even though I did put Leeds 7th. Like I said, doesn't make sense, but it's from my memory, and throughout my memory, like I said, yes, Arsenal have won trophies, and we haven't. But if we're talking about the Premier League here, we fought for titles a couple times. We finished in Europe every single season from 2012 all the way to 2023. That's pretty impressive. I think we've had better players than Arsenal since, in my memory. Like, obviously, you've had Kane, Son, Bale, Modric, Eriksen. I could be here all day. And yeah, it's basically because I'm biased, but I think that there are some reasons. I feel like my reasons are kind of valid. Like, from my perspective, we have had a better time in the Premier League than Arsenal, but yeah. Anyway, Joe, who have you got?
Well, before I carry on, I am going to say, Lewis, you were right. I did forget someone. Or maybe I'm going crazy and I didn't. But if I didn't say Blackburn, then...
Yeah, there you go. That's who you forgot.
Yeah, I had Blackburn in 8th, just below Everton, Obviously, they won the Premier League, which I think Tottenham didn't. Which is, just saying. Casey, just saying. We'd have actually won.
Bro's dissing his own club.
I'm being realistic. I'm just going to have to call you out.
Bro's dissing his own club. That is crazy,
biased.
Just to prove a point.
You're being a bit biased. But anyway, I had Blackburn 8th, Heritage. If we're talking about Heritage, you've got to have them in there. Also, Blackburn. I don't know, I like Blackburn. Also, 5th, I've got... Casey, can you please let me say my 5th before you come for me? 5th, I've got Chelsea. Pre-Abramovich. Yeah. And then came along and, they've had that Mourinho side, which conceded no goals or whatever the Chelsea fans say. And yeah, won a couple Premier Leagues, couple Champions Leagues, and there's not much I can say because they are part of the Big Six. And in my opinion, if you're going sort of all-time Premier League now after Man City, I think Chelsea are probably 5th. I think in that sort of in the table of top 6. So that's what I've got them there. Lewis, who have you got in 6th? I think.
In 6th for me, I've gone with Spurs.
See.
I think as you have had some great players. Trophy-wise, you haven't done amazing, but at the same time, you just won the League Cup. What was it? 07-08?
Yeah.
So you've still won a trophy. You're one of the never been relegated, one of the founding Premier League clubs as well. So because of that league trophy and because of some of the players you've attracted, and as Casey said, you have been in Europe every season from 2023. What was it? What did you say, Casey? 2000.
No, it might have been before that. No, 2010 actually.
2010. So for that reason, you get the edge over Everton. So therefore, you are 6th. So Casey, what are we on to you? Are we on to 5th for you or 4th for you? 4th.
I got Chelsea because, like I said, even though I will say it for a billion times, but yes, I know I did put Leeds 7th or 6th, whatever it was. But yeah, I put Chelsea in because obviously from my memory, they've actually won the Premier League title. I think that's why I put them over Arsenal, Tottenham, because I think that's very bad. They've won the Champions League twice in my memory as well. They've had some incredible players, great managers. They won the Europa League as well. They've won the FA Cup. They won the League Cup. They won everything. They literally won everything in my lifetime. I think that's why they definitely. I think the top 4 I've got not negotiable, but my opinion at the end of the day. Anyway, Joe, who have you got?
Well, being a non-biased man, in 4th I've got Arsenal.
That's crazy.
From my memory, they did go invincible, and
from your memory.
Yeah, from my memory, as you were saying earlier. From my yeah, I
forgot Joe's about 36.
Yeah, from my memory, and they. I mean, as a Tottenham fan, I'm not going to praise them too much because Casey might come for my head, but there's not much to argue. They've got the heritage, they've had the iconic manager, they've had the iconic players. People say Henry was the best player in the Premier League, and went invincible with Arsenal. They made a Champions League final, lost it, thank God. And would the Premier League be the Premier League without the North London derby? For me, as a Tottenham fan, I don't think it would be. So that's all I'm saying. That's why I've got them there. And That's I think fourth's better than wherever Casey put them. So, Lewis, what about you?
Well, fifth, equally to you, Joe, I've gone with Chelsea. I believe, was it you that said fifth? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think Casey also said they've pretty much won everything there is to win in my lifetime. I mean, obviously, I'm not just going off my lifetime, I'm going off research within the full Premier League as well. But Champions League winners, Europa League winners, won the league, won the FA Cup, won the League Cup, I believe. Don't hold us to that, to the league.
The reason I know is because I'm pretty sure they beat us in the final.
Yeah, so therefore, also one of the Premier League founding teams, spent 32 seasons there. The four clubs ahead of them, for me, are undisputable. So that's why they're fifth. But Casey, I believe, won the third for you now, with your 19 Premier League.
I got Liverpool. Obviously, second biggest club in England, like in terms of overall. But if we're talking about their time in the Premier League, they only got one Premier League at the end of the day. But obviously, they won Champions League sometimes when they've literally won everything in my lifetime, been fighting for titles in my lifetime. Even before I was born, they were pretty good. I don't really say about that. Players like Suarez, Gerrard, Salah, Trent, Mane. The list goes on. Play like managers like Klopp and stuff like that. And I think the top three are very unnegotiable. You guys said top four, but top three. I think these top three, there's no debate about it. But anyway, Joe, who have you got?
I've copied you, and for third, I've got Liverpool as well. I think people might be like, "Oh, but shouldn't Man City be third?" But let's be honest, if you're talking about Premier League, we obviously know Liverpool won a lot before the Premier League, but Man City have absolutely dominated it, and Liverpool, they've got obviously they've gone neck and neck with them, but they've only won one. They've won a few Champions Leagues, which credit to them. That's why they're third, but. I don't think they deserve to be second or first. And they've got a great derby with Everton. They've got good fans, as you said, iconic managers, lots of iconic players as well. And I don't think putting Liverpool third is a crazy thing to say. So, Lewis, who have you got in fourth?
In fourth, I've gone with Arsenal. Invincible season. I would just like to say as well, with Chelsea in fifth, I know I mentioned the fact that they've won everything there is to win. We are just ranking it off Premier League. So therefore, Jose Mourinho, the best defence of all time, the least goals conceded that season. I think it was 03-04 with Mourinho or 04-05. Arsenal, invincible season. Had some players like Henry, Pires, Vieira, just Premier League heritage footballers, and they are founders as well. Being in all 32 seasons, they are a big club, bigger than Spurs. I know you won't want to hear that, but let's be real.
Obviously, they are. Yeah. Obviously, they are. I might put them above us, but overall, they obviously are. They've got double white trophies. I'm pretty sure.
So they get fourth for me. So Casey, your second place team, please.
Obviously, I have to go with Man City. They're about to do something that even Man United haven't done. If they win the league this year, I'm pretty sure they're first to do a 4p or a 5p. I can't remember which one. Anyway, they're breaking records. The treble winners literally have just been dominant my whole life, which is a phrase that I'll probably only say once. But they've been dominant. Spend loads of money. Pep, Aguero, company, KDB. I think enough said, really. I think they probably do have the second. Yeah, they have the second most Premier Leagues. I think they definitely deserve to be second. And that's about it, really. Joe, who have you got?
In second, I've got Man City as well. Most iconic. If you're talking about Premier League, most iconic moment with Aguero.
Defo.
They've 100 points, 3-peat, treble. They've really done a lot. If they do the 4-peat this year, then I think. Give it a couple more years and maybe they'll challenge for first. But if you're talking about Premier League, they have to be second. There's no way. They're even but it's not like they've been doing it super recent. What? They won their first title, what was it, 12 years ago? 10? Something like that. So, for longevity. And they were around before as well in the Premier League. So, that's why I'm putting them there. And, people may say, oh, the money. But let's be honest. The money's not the biggest part. They've still spent smart, and that's why they're in second for me. Who you got, Lewis, in third?
In third, I've gone with Liverpool. Big club. They've got the greatest African player of all time playing for them at the minute, Mohamed Salah. Had some big players over the years. They've been up there with City the last 5 or so years is really battling for the Premier League title. First and second for me, once again, undisputable, so they couldn't be any higher, really. So yeah, Casey, give us your first place team, please.
Honestly, just to save you guys pain, you don't even have when you say you're first, you don't even have to tell us why, because we all know why. We all know who's been first since we started this video, and it's United. I'll just sum it up for all of us: 13 league titles, most league titles, dominated the shit out of the league. They're the reason. Literally, there's the reason why every person on the planet Earth is a Man United fan. There's a reason why everyone hates Man United. Like the older generations, they are the face of the Premier League. The players that they had, Alex Ferguson, the GOAT. That's about it. Like, you guys don't have to. There's nothing else to say. But so carry on your list. Don't want to be rude.
Liz, I'll be honest. You can carry on with yours as well, because he summed it up. Man United. That's it.
Yeah, my second place team, because I'm the only one competent enough here to go in order without messing up.
Oh, bloody hell.
I've gone with Manchester City. Not Manchester City. Well, yeah, no, I have gone City. Sorry, so that's a bit ironic to then mess up. But no, I've got City in second. As Casey said, nobody's going to knock United off first place. What is it, 20 or 21 titles in the Premier League out of 32?
Something stupid.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
And
I got 13.
Alex Ferguson, they've had... Wait, how many, sorry?
They got 13.
So it'll be 21 so 13 Premier League titles out of, but 21 in total for Division 1. That's my mistake. But 13 out of 32, that's what? They've won... that's more than a third of all the Premier League seasons.
Yes.
So that's just how, as Casey said, everybody hates them. Everybody, a lot of people love them. They're a big club, and that's why they get laughed at so much. And people put on the downfall because they were once a massive club, and more than likely with this takeover that they've got going through with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, they're probably going to be back up to their best in a few years' time, which will be sad to see because as a Newcastle fan, Newcastle, my fans and Man United fans, we don't force a rivalry, but there's a lot of bitterness there. So yeah, that's my list. Good luck, Aldo, editing it because he'll have a lot on his mind to get things out properly.
I still can't believe your list, Casey.
My list is so look. Fair enough, the order, but the teams in it, you have to agree, are so good. The rivalries and everything. Yeah, the order is horrible. But yeah, that's fair. But the team like Wimbledon is such a good shout for me. Having a team like Wimbledon, they're the better Burnley because they'll up for it. Like I said, there's documentaries made on how brutal they used to be on the pitch, and they're just a sick club. They got their club taken over and started literally from the bottom. And are in League 2 now, and they're a fan club. They're funded by fans. But
that's what makes it bad, though. The fact that they were bought out and had to be relocated to Milton Keynes. They became MK Dons.
They became MK Dons.
They became MK Dons. Yeah, I know, but therefore the Wimbledon now that you're saying as a fan club wasn't the Wimbledon back then, though. That's the point. It's a completely different.
It is. They've taken back their history. At the ground, they've got all their trophies and shit. So basically, even the owner said MK Dons, they moved their club and relocated and just changed their club. But MK Dons are now just a new club, start ground up, and Wimbledon are just AFC Wimbledon are still Wimbledon from back in the day because they're the ones who keep the trophies and have given their history back.
Oh. Yeah?
Anyway, the video is waffling on a lot more than it needed to be, but thank you guys for watching this video. If you're new around here, obviously please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next Friday at 6 p.m.
Yay! In a bit.